Turn the volume up and bang it out the truck now. Turn the volume up and bang it out the truck now. Turn the volume up and bang it out the truck now. Turn the volume up and bang it out the truck now. Turn the volume up and bang it out the truck now. Turn the volume up and bang it out the truck now. Turn the volume up and bang it out the truck now. Turn the volume up and bang it out the truck now. Turn the volume up and bang it out the truck now. Turn the volume up and bang it out the truck now. Turn the volume up and bang it out the truck now. Turn the volume up and bang it out the truck now.
I won't stop in abusing these poppin' acoustics. You think shit is cute till you poppin' the music. I'm blind in the face by the mist of the kush. Yeah, I line up the bass cause the system's a whoop. Let me grind with this weight that I pitch and I push. Mine, I said weight that I pitch and I push. Cause these rhymes are the bass that I sip and I cook. While you lying in my face, what I spit got you shook. Blasting a beat, not pressure my tie on you. Ask for the heat, rocket blessed with a.
Alright guys, we're going to take a quick look at the second volume of the West Coast offense. We're going to be wrapping up far tight slots essentially. After this we're going to jump into a little bit of what I'm doing in different formations, including if I want to run the ball. Of course, in far tight slots, if you're going to run the ball, you got the halfback dive and fullback dive. Those are really just picking up 3 to 4 yards. It's sometimes bigger, but you're not relying on those to actually be your running game. So we'll get into something else. And actually, in this, I'll show you what I do use as almost a substitute for the run game in far tight slots. Because when it first was big back in Madden 19, I was actually using it before it blew up, and I wasn't using the dive the way everybody else was using it because people were spamming it to get that 3 and 4 yards because they knew couldn't stop. First of all, the handle's slower now, so it's not as effective anyway. But I'm going to show you what I was doing then that actually almost substituted as a run, because you were able to pick up big yards with one of your halfbacks, and you're also able to put your opponent in a position where he has to do something to stop him before he can even think about the pass game and all those things. So I actually made my opponents respect it. I was using the short pass for a run, which is what the West Coast scheme actually does a good bit. But we'll get into that in a moment. First, I'm going to show you versus man. So of course we didn't go over man, we were going over zone in the first video. So see both of the receivers routes and the tight ends route do beat man, but I'm going to show you what would be more ideal, right? So if you see the leverage that the tight end has here is actually to the inside. So once you start to realize who's manning him up, then you know which route you want to run, because he's going to be better off running to the inside. CD Lamb's route, that's going to beat man as is. I love that as is. It's something that is going to just get open quickly more often than not. Now Amari Cooper's route, this one's interesting because it's going to beat man as it is, but we're going to make a small change that makes it beat man quicker and better. So motion them out again. So I want you to be able to see these 3 stock routes, and we're going to smart route Cooper's route, and you'll be able to see that he actually gets open faster and creates a little more space. So it's better against man if you hot route that to a smart route. Let's go in there and take a look at Amari Cooper's route now that we smart routed it. You'll be able to see he gets this little jam, he gets off, but right there when he makes his break, he's open earlier in the play and he has a great deal of separation. So that is something that we're going to be absolutely thinking about when we are running this scheme. Now, another thing, Blake Jarwin isn't the greatest route running tight end, but you see, remember we had leverage to the inside. The drag or the in route are what we're going to want to use. Now, because Jarwin isn't a great route runner, you see the dig didn't necessarily get a whole lot of space. And yeah, we'll jump into replay to show that real quickly. You see, he takes this big exaggerated step and then he doesn't explode out of that break. So if you don't have a great tight end, or even if you do have a great tight end, you'll find that the drag does a better job getting open when you have leverage to the inside. Now you see we can throw this to Jarwin all day. The speed of the DB eventually catches up to him, but even then it's a tight window where you can probably pass it. So once we realize where that leverage is, like I said, and more often than not, you have 2 backs in the backfield. The two linebackers who are manned up are more often than not manned up to your running backs. Sorry, so Jarwin's gonna end up open there. Now Pollard, we could put Pollard on an out route, or the or an in route, and Ezekiel Elliott as well, of course, right? So, but here's a nice thing that we can do to mix up, and of course you did see this in the first video. We were doing some of these concepts versus zone, so you're able to see that some of the same things we did that beat zone are gonna beat man. I just want to come out and show man specific to let you know what we can and can't do. So now remember this out route, because I'm going to show you something very interesting about that out route and a different route from the halfback, the one that I'm using as a pseudo run play. And then like I said, we'll get into some other formations where we actually are running it. So Zeke runs the typical halfback out route where it has that extra break. And it's decent, it'll do the job. But if I have to put one of them on an out route or an in route, I'm going to do Tony, because of the fact that he gets the receiver out route where it's just one break. And of course, you guys know I love this motion slam with the crosser. That's going to beat man, that's going to beat zone, that's going to beat everything in the universe. So by all means, if you don't know what you're facing and you're a little bit nervous, run that, make your reads. You can run it with two routes out. I mean, you can block everybody, you can delay fade the tight end and just have the crosser and the slant, so you got time, or you can put multiple routes out. Now this play, the curl play, that route to Coop is clutch. All we do is we motion pilot out on the wheel and we streak CD Lambda, right? Now what ends up happening, this is my default spacing play for this formation. So what you're going to usually see against zone, first of all, A is going to be wide open, right? You get pilot down the sideline versus cover 2. We already know that with the motion that we're going to beat cover 2 down the sideline easily. You're going to always have Jarring open. Now, you're actually going to be able to hit that a lot because your opponent is going to be used to chasing these routes. That, remember, we got the crossers and we got the corner routes and all these other things going on. Your opponent's not going to be sitting in the middle of the field. And if you find he's starting to chase everything all over the place, you come to this, drop it down to the tight end. But now, you see Amari's route. If I didn't get slapped in my face, Amari's route actually gets wide open as well. And that route is money against everything. I'm going to show you, we're going to go through it real fast. That route is money. So this is cover 2 right now, and Amari's there. But just low ball and possession catching, you're talking about 8 or 9 yards. Easy yards. Now we're going to go right ahead and do the same thing versus cover 3. And this time we're doing a dime look. Make sure you get as many DBs on the field as possible. Why not? So again, we gotta bring Pollard back because we gotta wheel him before we move him, or he won't stay on that wheel. And then we want to streak the B receiver. Now here you see against cover 3 and cover 4, you're able to hit that streak to that receiver real fast, and that you want that to be your first read, because if there's nobody above B, like if he runs behind this lineman, you can absolutely hit it. Again, you see A and X are both open. We'll go through it again just to make sure we can show that and display that in its proper context. Here goes A, here goes X, low ball, possession catch, and it's there. Give me, I'm having problems with my controller. Wheel the halfback, streak for my tight end. My controller is killing me right now. Streak the slot receiver and block the fullback. Ezekiel Elliott is the fullback for this formation. There you go, Blake Jarring again, open for the easy dump off. Got our wheel route, we got our streak. Look how open Amari Cooper gets, huh? It's beautiful. I mean, that route is very, very low key. Alright, so that's cover 2, cover 3 we just did. Let's go ahead and keep it moving. So again, we are now jumping into cover 4 drop, and you'll see that that's going to work a lot like cover 3, because we all know the underneath routes in cover 4 drop and cover 3 are essentially the same. So we'll go through that real fast. You'll see we need the streak. You're gonna see Coop and Jarring both open as well, so we'll go ahead and hit each one of those. There's Coop, low ball possession catch. That's probably 10 yards. I mean, these are easy yards. These are easy yards, and the user is gonna have to get out there. And if he does, just throw the ball to Jarwin, because Jarwin is always open right here, right in front of your face. There's no user that can guard both of those. Not even when we had the Madden 19 Superman users can't guard both of those. Now we're gonna take a look at something cool. Let me see. Hold on a minute. Are we going there yet? Random man coverage. Now Carl's do a pretty decent job against man coverage if you throw it out quick enough and low ball it, possession catch, right? But watch what happens with Coop. Coop gets a great if I could actually pass the ball. And if I recall correctly, I think I did this another time or two, right? There was this bare pass. But if you just stick with me for a moment, I'll eventually get it right. Yeah. Alright, so here we go. We're still in random man coverage, and I'm going to show you how Coop's route gets great separations. You see, so it's actually an easy pass. When he turns and sits, that DB sits back off him at least a yard. And if you're low balling and possession catching, it's almost like he's 5 yards open, because it's very easy to complete. And of course, against the right coverage, Pollard's going to be able to beat a slower lineman down the sideline, but that I'm not usually looking for that, because wheel routes are very sketchy versus man. But the main thing is you can see Coop's route, and Lamb, you can probably hit him to the inside too, but Coop's route, if I know it's man and I'm in this play, I'll wait on Coop's route every day, because it's an easy hit. Very, very easy. That's curl drag. I love curl drag. Now, I use mash because this is the better corner route of all the bench and all the other plays. We have a few corner routes here, right? I motion Pollard out, leave him on his route. I streak Coop, and I put the tight end on the dig. And you see, that's against cover 2. And as a matter of fact, that's probably as tight as it gets. So when I time it better, I think I throw one more that isn't timed great. And then I'll show you what you really want to do. So this is cover 2 again. Just streak Coop. Yeah, see, so that one, oh, actually, it was a throw out of a sack. Yeah, I recorded this like a week ago. I just been too busy to do the actual video and audio. So here we go. Motion Pollard out on his route, streak Coop, put Jarwin on the dig. And you allow Coop to carry that deep half. And I mean, I think you probably have 5 yards of separation from both DBs, and probably 3 yards by the time you caught it. So there's nothing difficult about making that catch at all whatsoever. And of course, if the user is chasing that corner route, as they often will, you just come down and you pass the ball to Blake Jarwin. There's no reason to be greedy, right? If you make him respect the fact that you're going to use your checkdowns, you'll make this offense ridiculously hard to stop. But if you don't, and you constantly force the deep pass, then this offense, like any offense, won't be hard to stop at all. But you want to make sure you're stretching them horizontally as well as vertically, which means you got to be willing to take the underneath stuff. Now, another thing I'll do out of this real quickly, not too often, but I'll streak Coop still, I'll block Pollard, I'll put Zeke on a wheel, and I'll leave Jarwin on his drag, and you know how this works, a typical flood. But it's really good because, of course, you have the drag as a quick read, you have the wheel as a dump off, and then the corner is now a post after you motion it over. And it's good to incorporate some movement and some motion in your offense. You know, start giving your opponent different things to think about, right? So as we move forward, we just want to use some motion a little bit. So you see both of those mash setups against cover 2. Those are the two mash setups I'm typically using. Now against cover 3, we'll show the same two. So we're going to streak Coop. We're going to block Zeke, motion out Pollard on his stock route, and put Jarwin on a dig. And you'll see, again, that corner route is wide open. So that's the corner route we want right there. The one against bench isn't so bad. The one in bench isn't so bad. And there's one more. It doesn't even come to my mind right now. But in either case, the corner route and mash is the one that does better against these zones. It finds the spots, it finds the holes, and it gets you what you want to get consistently. So this is great because remember, out of the play flats, we're coming across the field and attacking the opposite side. So now, and here you go, there's that other setup, the flood setup. Now we're attacking the left-hand side or the short side of the field. So your opponent can't just key in. And now, of course, when we mix in the drag curl, where Coop's dropping on that curl and Jarman's on that spot route right in front of your face, now you're attacking the middle of the field, right? So you're giving the user a whole lot that he has to defend. And if you mix these in right and you pay attention to what your opponent is doing, you'll know when to call what, or when to mix it in and how to mix it in. And that's going to make it very difficult to stop. But we try not to just run one setup or one play. We have a few setups for each play, and it makes sense that we go ahead and take advantage of them. So now we're getting into cover for drop, and you're gonna see this thing works just as good against cover for drop. So you got somebody playing these drop coverages, whether it's cover 2, cover 3, or cover 4, you're gonna dot them up. And a lot of people default to this cover 4 drop when they can't stop the pass game. And cover 4 drop is not the move, not against us. You see our tight end again is still open, so we always have that underneath option. And if the user's not in the area, we can catch that with the tight end and easily pick up 10 to 12 yards. And we'll do our motion flood play as well. Go ahead and show that and show how that works. B's gonna get into a great spot and throw out a sack, of course, so we weren't able to hit him, but you are able to see he's wide open. I think I did it again just because of that. Absolutely, there we go. So we're gonna take a look at that one more time. Oh, now we got some protection. Look at Tyron Smith out there fighting, and we were actually able to catch that and run with it. So that's how open we are. 20 yards down the field against cover 4 drop. The cover 4 drop is what people think keeps you from getting dotted deep, and we have a receiver 25 yards down the field, wide open. Ended up catching and running for 30 yards, wide open. So we're not worried about cover 4 drop, to say the least. Now, if I think it's man and I'm in this, I'm typically going to use the motion flood, because the drag and the motion corner turned into a post are going to be man more consistently, especially since I don't have Coop on that corner route. Now, see, if you pass that on the break, of course you got a much better animation because you can't complete that. If I'm going against somebody who's spamming man and I feel like I need to mix this in because they're really good on defense, then I'll swap Coop and Lamb to make sure that Coop is on that route, because he'll get even more separation. Of course, your better receivers, better route runners, and Coop's a route tack and a deep out elite. I believe that's what they call it. So now we'll go ahead and look at the flood play. But yeah, anytime you motion one of these routes, they tend to get better separation on the break, and there you go, see? So again, knowing when and how to use these plays and these setups is very important. And there's your drag. The drag actually bumped into alignment, but he still had some separation. And of course, if you know it's man, you can always use a drag and a slant. That slant is going to, of course, be your number one receiver, but slants, period, we know do very well in this game against man coverage. And then if you need max protection, delay fade the tight end and just run the slant and the corner by all means. Never feel like you don't have options. You always have options. Sometimes you have the line of scrimmage, you just gotta take a deep breath and one thing I repeat to myself a lot is I say, hey, look, incompletions are better than sacks, and sacks are better than interceptions. Sometimes you take a deep breath and you say that before you snap the ball, and it just reminds you to go through your progressions. Don't force anything. Take your time and get the ball out. Alright guys, so we're going to jump into the pseudo run play that I had mentioned previously. It's out of the play flats, which is great because we have two great routes in here that are hard to defend already. But if we put our halfback on a flat, we're going to start against cover 2 drop. You see, we're able to get it out quickly and actually pick up 10 yards, right? This is a wheel route. Put them on the wheel route again, because those two crossing routes are going to carry everybody up the field. Put them on that again. We actually got a bad animation there, still ended up with 7 or 8 yards. So you want to take this into practice lab and practice the timing. That's better timing. See, you get it where he's starting to turn up the field. Now you're able to catch it and run with it, and we picked up 10 to 11 yards, right? So even with the bad animation, I mean, 7 or 8 yards isn't bad. If you're considering this a run play, picking up 7 yards at a time isn't bad at all. So against cover 3 drop, even better, because you know cover 3 the flats are naked, right? So we're able to get Pollard out again for about 10 yards. Again, the wheel, they're gonna have to respect it. 10-yard pickup. And I do this in game. I absolutely do this in game. I did it in Madden 19. I'm doing it now in Madden 22. The wheel route from where Tony Pollard is lined up, that wheel route for some reason or other just gives defenses a ridiculously hard time. He gets out to the flats quickly, and it's hard to stop. So we're gonna go ahead and take a quick look at cover 4 drop. Because of course, yes, cover 4 drop. I don't even need to say why. But anyway, get it out. Pretend there is no fall forward. We picked up 9 yards before we were touched. Because that fall forward thing has to get patched eventually. I hope. For the sake of all of our sanity. Alright, so now we'll go ahead and say people start running match defense on you. So we're looking at Palms defense now. But we're still able to get this out here easily, and we're getting 8 yards, 9 yards, and that was with a pass that wasn't even the greatest in terms of timing. So let's take another look. Let's see if there's any defense out here that's going to give this a hard time. Let's go ahead and get into quarters because we already did Palms. And no, quarters doesn't do it either. And again, that one could have been timed a little bit better, but it's an easy catch, and we're going to do it again. So one more time against quarters coverage, see if we can get better timing on the pass, and that's it. Beautiful. Now look, that's between 15 and 20. Was it 16, 17 yards? So like I said, you want to lab this, because by all means, now when I was using it in Madden 19, I had used this for a couple months actually. So I had to time it down where I could do it with my eyes closed. You snap the ball and it's 1.5, boom, right? So if you get it down like that, forget about it. So now we're going against man coverage. Watch what happens. We can ignore that one because the man never even started moving with us. But here we go. So random man coverage. We pass it out. And you see our man? We're able to get up the field. Wheel routes aren't good against man. But because of where Tony Pollard is lined up, I'm going to show you. If you look at where Tony Pollard is lined up versus where his defender is lined up. And sometimes the opposite defender mans him up. Right now it's the defender right above him. But you're trying to beat Tony Pollard or any halfback to that space over there with a linebacker. It's not going to work, right? It's not going to happen. So look at where his man comes from. When we snap the rock, look at where his defender is versus where he is. And they're trying to race to the same spot. It's never going to work. This time it was the opposite linebacker. It's never going to work. This is your run play in far tight slots. Now of course what ends up happening, you're going to start seeing dime coverage, nickel coverage, because people need to get DBs on the field to guard this and those crossing routes. That's when I mix in the fullback dive and the halfback dive, because now you have a lighter box. I'm not going to force it when people are coming out in 3-4 bare. What? So you see, out routes work against man. Remember I said we're going to show this later? But the out route isn't as good in this formation as the wheel, which isn't typical, right? But in this formation, the wheel route versus man is absolute money. Even when they're close, that's probably about as close as they get. They're not close enough. So by all means, I can't say it enough. I'm a lad rat. So by all means, get in the lad. Though that one's even closer. But still, you can get that pass out to him, and you're gonna start seeing hard flats, or you're gonna start seeing and I'll show you real fast. So you see me using this in game. Now here's the other thing. A lot of times the user is the person who's supposed to man up that running back, and a lot of users ignore him, or they're sending a blitz and he's not manned up, so he gets more wide open in game, right? Especially when you're dotting them up over the field and they want to start sending heat, or they feel like they got to go guard CD's route. And now you see why it's taken, so we just go over top, because once you start making him play that hard flat, you saw he played that hard flat, then you know you can go over top. So let's go ahead and take a look at this in game again. So Pollard, we can hit him, not a problem, gain easy yards, give him a little shake. That's about what, 13 yards, 12 yards. All right, and I think we end up quick snapping this one if I recall correctly, and we're going to run the exact same thing until he starts putting a hard flat out there, or he starts using it himself. We're just going to hammer this, right? See, so now he's bringing his DBs down. Are they playing half flats or are they just pressing? We'll see. Because just bringing them down isn't enough. Oh, you know what? We knew he was playing a cover 2 half flat. So now, what do? We know we can beat cover 2 with this, but a cover 2 half flat, I mean, I could put the controller down. You know what I mean? So, hey, get into the lab. Use that that wheel route by all means. Appreciate you guys rocking with me, man. And I'll be back with volume 3 very shortly.